Welcome to the Alpha Masterclass. This class is about the correlation between Web3 and the Age of Aquarius. There are a ton of mind-blowing correlations between the two, and it's something that I really want to share with the world because not only is it super fascinating, but it can really give you a sneak peek into what the future is going to look like and to prepare accordingly. My name is Esther, and I am an astrologer and Web3 enthusiast. I've been studying astrology since 2012, and I started my Web3 journey in March of 2021. I am a community builder in Web3, and I'm currently working for 2 different NFT projects. Okay, so enough about me. I'm going to start off with talking a little bit about astrology and how it works exactly, because you're going to need to have this base understanding in order to really grasp the message in this class. So there is this common misconception about astrology that we are victim to the stars and planets, that they control us and that they control what goes down here on Earth. But in actuality, astrology works on the principle of as above, so below, which means that the cosmos are merely reflecting what goes down here on Earth. It acts as a literal mirror. So the stars and planets reveal a language, and that language is astrology. Astrology is a language that interprets energy. So reading where the stars and planets are at any given time will reveal the archetypal themes of what is going on. That is why some astrologers are able to predict major themes and events that are going to happen in the future. Many astrologers even predicted the pandemic, but I won't go too far into that. So we are currently experiencing a paradigm shift into one astrological age into the next. So astrological ages, they represent the entire collective consciousness, such as themes, societal norms, values, and they last around 2,000 years. In those 2,000 years, they are colored by a theme, and that theme is represented by the sign that it's in. So some astrologers think that we've already entered the Age of Aquarius back in 2012. Some think the Age of Aquarius won't be starting until 2100. But I personally think that we are in the transitioning phase between the Age of Pisces and the Age of Aquarius. I mean, these are huge transitions. We're talking like 2,000 years of collective themes, beliefs, values, societal norms, systems, and structures. This switch just doesn't happen overnight. And during the transition, we experience a total breakdown of the old, which is why shit has been majorly hitting the fan for the collective. So the Age of Pisces was marked by faith and transcendence, and out of this came Christianity, the dominant world religion. So what's really interesting is that Christianity is around 2,000 years old, which is also the same time frame of an astrological age. And when you look at the Pisces symbol, it's also very similar to the Christian fish symbol. So as I mentioned previously, we are experiencing the breakdown of this Age of Pisces, but we're also experiencing themes of the Age of Aquarius simultaneously. And before we fully enter the Age of Aquarius, we as a collective have to first deal with the collective shadows of the Age of Pisces. And these shadows are a result of the distortions that came out of religions. And these are the shadows that we must work through. Illusions, guilt, shame. In Christianity, you're told that you are born a sinner. And this really creates a guilt and shame consciousness. Conformity. And much of this conformity is rooted in deep generational trauma, where if you didn't conform to a religion, or if women didn't conform to what a woman should be like, you got tortured and even killed. So conformity in a way is a survival mechanism that is literally embedded in our DNA. It's also a way to not get kicked out of the tribe, because if you did get kicked out, then you could not survive. It is totally anti-individuality. Individuality is actually a huge Age of Aquarius archetype. but I'll get into that into the next slide. Savior complex, another theme that came out of religion. Patriarchy. I mean, you all know the story of Adam and Eve, right? How Eve was created out of Adam's rib, and how it was Eve that took a bite of the forbidden fruit. As a result of Eve's disobedience, God put a curse on all women for eternity. So this is a verse straight out of the Bible. To the woman he said, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." This misogynistic, patriarchal worldview was the foundation for the collective consciousness for a very, very long time. It was completely normal. This was the norm. And yes, it's not the norm anymore, but it's still not fully eradicated. There are places in the world where women still have zero rights. So this is literally the perfect example of an Age of Pisces distortion. Holding onto a belief, as delusional and as harmful as it is, and totally bypassing logic as a result. So these are the Age of Aquarius themes. And I know there's a lot here, but I'm going to talk about a few of them that are very much present today. And then later on, I'm going to tie them into Web3. So technology, for example. I mean, we are totally living in the age of technology right now. And the technology is innovating at a lightning speed. Aquarius also rules lightning. It also rules interconnectedness. So the internet is a tool that made that happen. And the internet is also ruled by Aquarius. Before the internet, the entire world was in the dark with a veil of illusion draping around the entire world. And this was a result of the major religious institutions and governments spreading propaganda as a means to control people. But because of the internet, everyone is able to share ideas, share information. Aquarius is an air sign, and air signs rule ideas, information, and communication. The internet was a catalyst for awakening for a lot of people. It really helped pull people out of their box, and it introduced them to new and diverse ways of thinking. So there you have thinking outside the box, which is an Aquarian theme. I mean, I found astrology because of the internet. And yes, astrology is also ruled by Aquarius. This is why astrology is becoming more and more popular. In the future, I really believe that astrology is going to be revered as a legitimate science. All right, now I'm going to get to the juicy part, and I'm going to talk about Web3. So, what is Web3 exactly? But to understand Web3, you first need to understand Web 1 and Web 2. So Web 1 is known as the read-only web. Most of it was comprised of read-only websites, like businesses promoting their products, but you not being able to comment on them or interact with it. It was also decentralized, meaning that it was not owned by a central authority. So Web 2 is the internet that exists today and everyone is familiar with. In a nutshell, Web 2 is a social web where people can interact with each other. Web 2 is also centralized, which means it's owned by big companies and corporations, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, etc. But with centralization comes issues. So, for example, Facebook had that huge $90 billion privacy lawsuit, where they were tracking people even after they were logging out. And not to mention, they were also selling our personal information, our data, to advertisers. Another issue, the content that you make on social media, it doesn't belong to you. It is owned by the central organization that is running it. So for example, if you make content on Instagram, that content belongs to Instagram. And if Instagram decides to shut down, all of your content is gone. Also, algorithms. Algorithms are an issue because they regulate the content that you see. And they make a ton of money off of it too. They are making money off of your attention. Censorship is another issue. All of these issues are a result of centralization, and with power usually comes corruption. Now I'm going to be talking about Web3. So Web3 is a new wave of internet that is decentralized. It's powered by blockchain technology and digital tokens. It is an internet that is for the people and by the people. Everyone has the opportunity to own a piece of this new internet through buying digital tokens. Very, very Aquarian energy. So how this works exactly, I'm going to use Instagram as an example. So if Instagram was a part of Web3, you can literally own a piece of Instagram through investing in Instagram tokens. And this would essentially make you a shareholder of Instagram, and you would have a say in how it gets ran through community voting. This is called a DAO, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So for example, the money that Instagram makes off of ads. Imagine if the majority of shareholders made a vote on sending a percentage of the profits to Ukraine. Now, how freaking incredible would that be? And the reason why I'm using this example is because I experienced this exact scenario in one of the DAOs that I'm in. So with the revenue that the DAO was making, the majority of us voted to donate to Ukraine. And we donated $30,000 to Ukraine a month ago. So yeah, I'm literally getting the chills just talking about this because this is literally a sneak peek into what the Age of Aquarius will look like. It is community driven, it is humanitarian, it is decentralized, and it's powered by technology. So the themes of the Age of Aquarius and Web3 are literally exactly the same. Every single one of these things that you see on here, you can relate to Web3. So as I was experiencing Web3 for myself, I noticed the exact parallels. And it freaking blew my mind. The energetic blueprint of both are exactly the same. And I'm going to go through some of these so I can show you exactly why. So I'm going to go deeper into the community aspect. It's really interesting because crypto and NFT projects rely on the strength of their community. It is a total collective movement. If the community of a crypto or NFT project starts to fizzle out, then that project will literally go to shit. So I'm really involved in several NFT communities, and the friendships and connections I have with these people is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Aquarius also rules friendship, and it also rules detachment. So even though I have these awesome Web3 friendships, there's an element of detachment because the friendship is happening online and not in person. But I'll be explaining NFTs a bit later. So innovation. Web3 is all about innovation. The technology that is powering Web3 is always innovating, and it's happening at a lightning speed. Web3 is also extremely revolutionary. The technology is revolutionary because it gives the power back to the people. And there is a ton of humanitarianism that goes into Web3 as well. So for example, when Ukraine went to war this year, they received $100 million in crypto from people and governments all around the world. And the thing with crypto is that it gets sent instantaneously, something that's impossible to do through a bank. So this was a Twitter post I actually came across in February. And when I read this, it was so freaking surreal because I felt like I was experiencing in real time one of the greatest utilities of what crypto can do. All right, I'm going to go back to the themes and do the comparisons of Web3. I love doing this. So next we have future forward. I mean, how future forward is Web3? And the thing is, there are so many people that are still resistant to anything Web3, crypto, and NFTs. And the reason why is because it's really really easy to criticize something that you don't understand. Just like how so many people were super critical of the internet back in the day, and how a lot of boomers are still critical of the internet, well, now internet is the norm. And Web3 is going to be the norm in the future. Web3 is the future. And being in Web3 right now, it's very similar to being at the beginning of the internet. And there are a ton of opportunities to be made here. Volatility and unpredictability is very, very apparent in Web3. I'm sure you guys heard that the price of Bitcoin and cryptos are super volatile and super unpredictable. And this is because it's an Aquarius archetype. Rebellion and nonconformity. Because of the fact that Web3 is decentralized, this is the perfect safe haven for rebels and nonconformists. Most people you meet in Web3 are super, super tired of our broken system, and many of them came there to escape the system. Visionary, unique, genius, all Web3 archetypes. Liberation. The decentralized nature of Web3 is totally liberating. Egalitarianism. Web3 culture is very much this way. Individuation. Individuality is also a huge part of Web3 culture and a total Age of an Aquarius theme. Originality. NFTs are totally original. So let's talk about NFTs now. So currently, NFTs are mainly used to sell and trade digital art just like these right here. And perhaps you've heard of them selling for thousands and even millions of dollars. So what makes NFTs so freaking valuable? It's determined by the community. The community gets to decide how much these are worth. But the true utility of NFTs is much more than these very expensive, ridiculously priced digital images. So, NFTs, they stand for non-fungible token. Non-fungible means that it's totally original and unique. They cannot be duplicated, and no two NFTs are ever the same. NFTs are certificates of ownership and authenticity, and they exist on blockchain technology. Any physical or non-physical item can be turned into an NFT and traded on the blockchain. And this trade happens instantaneously. So for example, the title to a house or a title to a car, they can be turned into NFTs and sold immediately on the blockchain. Most people know NFTs and blockchain to be tied with cryptocurrency, but the blockchain and NFTs can be utilized for absolutely anything in the real world, especially in the public sector. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about blockchain. Let me explain what blockchain is. So blockchain is essentially a ledger, aka a digital form of record keeping that is nearly impossible to hack, change, or cheat the system. And it's also completely transparent, which means that this data is available to everyone at any time. All transactions can be seen on the blockchain. And this is super revolutionary because it takes the trust out of transactions. It's a trustless system. And it is decentralized because it uses peer-to-peer technology. It doesn't need an intermediary like a government, for example. So, the first blockchain that was ever created was Bitcoin. And blockchain is mainly used right now for cryptocurrency transactions, but trust me, it's going to be used for so many different things very, very soon and in the future. So Bitcoin was invented due to the financial crisis that happened in 2008. If you remember, this is when numerous banks and financial institutions got bailed out by our governments, and they used our tax money to do it. So this was the motivating factor behind the creation of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created so that there would be a decentralized monetary system, and this gives financial sovereignty back to the people and removes the government corruption. So this whole thing is super, super Age of Aquarius. It's fuck the system, it's rebellious, decentralized, innovative, and it relies on technology. And it's also community driven. But the thing is, blockchain technology can be used for so many other things besides cryptocurrency because it is a digital ledger. It can be used for the public sector, such as medical records, digital IDs, supply chains, the title to a house, the title to a car, virtually any type of data. So, as you can imagine, the possibilities are endless. And the reason why blockchain is going to transform the world is because the problem with the ledgers that we use today, they can be easily modified and easily tampered with. And this causes all kinds of problems and leaves room for a lot of error and corruption. But blockchain totally solves this problem. Blockchain technology is going to completely transform the world. And the governments are actually starting to adopt blockchain technology. Many countries are actually creating their own central bank digital currencies that are going to exist on the blockchain. Just to prove my point, here's some proof right here. So Biden launched an executive order on cryptocurrency just this past March, and it's all about exploring the utilization of central bank digital currencies. So this is straight out of the government website. And I'll give you some time to read it, but basically our US government is looking to adopt blockchain technology. At the time of making this class, this article literally just came out a couple days ago, where California is going to embrace blockchain technology. So mass adoption of blockchain technology is on its way, and blockchain technology is the technology that powers Web3. This is the future. This is the Age of Aquarius. And whoever is resistant to it, I get it because it's the unknown, but this is exactly the same as when people were skeptical of the internet back in the day. So, in my opinion, I think it's best to embrace this new world. Get to know it. There's so much opportunity to be made here. I mean, I am getting all kinds of opportunities left and right. And it's my mission to just share it with the world. Especially being able to explain it astrologically and showing the energetics of it and validating that this is the future. Because astrology validates itself. It's driven by data. It's not an intuitive or psychic type of practice. So now I'm going to show you guys some really cool astrological correlations with the crypto market so I can really show you guys the meaning of as above, so below. So on December 21st, 2020, we had the Grand Conjunction. This was a huge freaking deal. Huge astrology transit that all astrologers were talking about. It was literally everywhere on the internet. It was on TikTok, freaking Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And many astrologers believe that this transit initiated the Age of Aquarius. And I totally agree. Jupiter represents expansion, and Saturn represents the status quo. And they were in the sign of Aquarius, and they were conjunct, meaning that they were blending energies. So the status quo society, the norm, was having a super explosive expansion in Aquarius themes. All right, so this is Bitcoin's chart. So as you can see, it went completely parabolic in December of 2020, right around the time when the Grand Conjunction happened. And as you should know, Aquarius rules crypto. And all of the crypto market tends to follow Bitcoin. So this is when a huge adoption of crypto actually occurred. And then just a few months later came Dogecoin, which totally brought crypto into mainstream culture. So the thing is, Web3 is being built right now. It's in its infancy stage. We are super, super early. And the beautiful part about it is that anyone can participate. A new world is being built through Web3. And this is a sneak peek of what the Age of Aquarius is going to look like. Decentralized, for the people, by the people, community-driven, original, innovative, powered by technology. What a time to be alive. And yes, humanity has suffered major crisis recently. But out of crises usually come innovation, radical innovation. So it's really up to you on whether you want to be stuck in the past or whether you want to jump on the train and move forward into the next step of human evolution. And this is truly the Age of Aquarius.